So, the picnic bench area. Yes. Yeah, we've not really featured that before, have we? Nope. So what we've tried to do is make an area for the staff to sit out at lunchtime. It's got a bit of shelter from the trees on the riverbank. But we've built some raised beds, and we've had trying to get a bit of colour in it all year round. The Alliums are just going over now, but they've been absolutely stunning this year. They've been really good. The antirrhinums, the Snapdragons, they're in full bloom now. And we've got some cosmos interplanted and lupins as well, ready to follow on from the antirrhinums. So we're trying to keep a bit of colour and interest all year. On the riverbank itself, we've let a lot of the wildflowers come up from the riverbank, but we have put a few of our own plants in. What we've been careful not to do is put non-invasive plants in. We don't want anything that's going to get into the environment. So we've got obviously native foxgloves in there. There's the mallow that's self-set. We've got a lot of the oxeye daisies down the back of the shed, which are always look nice because they throw up a lot of flowers. So yeah, we don't want to clear those out. We're trying to invite as much nature into the garden as we can, which sometimes works against us because the squirrels come and eat everything, but we can't invite nature in and then try and stop it, can we? So we have to put up with a bit of that. Yeah, these are, because they're in a different location, they get a bit less sun. So they just flowered that bit later than the ones that get all the sun in the afternoon. So there's that many different varieties of bees, it's hard to keep up with them. Yeah. Let's have a look, and there'll probably be a labelling. I know there is in the other beds, I've probably not got one in here because you've asked me that. Oh, Purple Rain, there you go, yeah. So I think we've got, I don't know if it's Purple Sensation and something else. So yeah, and obviously we've got the Sweet Williams in, that's a lovely one. And they'll come back year after year. So into the greenhouse, look inside. So we've got a few of our tests going on in here. The plants on the floor are just the spare plants and the basil. But yeah, I've tied out all the tomatoes up this morning, tied them all back in again at the top. So as they climb the cane, I'll just tie them in. These are all indeterminate ones, so these will just carry on going up and up and up. The determinate ones are the bush variety. The difference slightly, because they'll grow to a certain height and then stop. And then they'll send out. You don't pick the side shoots out on the determinate ones. You just let those grow and form a bush. The indeterminate ones that'll keep climbing, you take the side shoots out. So when these get to the top of the cane, what I'll do is I'll put, like we did last year, I'll put a string across up to this wire, and we'll get them to grow right up into the roof again. So the compost that they're in is exactly the same. It's peat-free. They've got exactly the same amount of compost and everything. They've been treated the same up to being planted out into these buckets. So these are the plants that have had no treatments whatsoever. So they're all the same variety. It's all Shirley variety. So these two have had no feed of any description at all from being planted out. And that's what they've done. They've virtually grown about an inch, 2 inches in 4 weeks. Yeah. These are the varieties that we've fed. So we've got a competitor, we've got Maximato, which is a liquid feed, and this is the one that's got Maximato Extra and Maximato. So this will get fed each week, and then every 4 weeks it'll get that boost of Maximato Extra. And you can see we've got flowers on, our first trusses coming on. Yeah. Nothing at all on the untreated. They're desperately trying to grow, bless them. I feel a bit sorry for them, I want to feed them, but I can't. So yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. And the ones with Maximato and Maximato Extra appear at the minute to be stronger plants, much bushier. Stems are thicker. But the whole idea of growing them, tomatoes, is to eat the fruit. So we'll see what the result is with fruit production. But yeah, they seem to be really robust plants. So the other greenhouse, so this is, I call it the glass house because it's the one that is actually made of glass, the other one's plastic. So again, in here, we've just got different varieties of tomatoes. We've actually got some little tomatoes on now. That's the red cherry variety, black cat cherry, that one. And again, I put the string up ready for that one to go up into the roof. Yeah. And it's got a couple of trusses on already. And again, I've taken all the side shoots out. So yeah, we've got cucumbers in here, aubergine, again, sweet peppers. What I have noticed is that we've obviously got a resident slug or snail in here. I can't catch it, I can't find it. So what I've started doing is at night, because it'll come out at night, you can see the damage on, it seems to love the aubergine. Yeah. And it did that overnight in one night. So what I've started doing is just taking one of these at night before I finish work and just popping that over, and then till it gets to a certain size, and then it should be robust enough, strong enough to withstand the attack. But yeah, it's definitely working, because I've not had any damage since I've started using those. So it just seems to be the aubergine that they like. They've not touched. I've said it now, but they've not touched the chilies or the cucumbers or anything. It's just the aubergine. So this into the actual garden. I'll just have a quick look at the cold frame. So it's been really useful this year. I've got all the cabbages and collies in here because we've nowhere to put them yet. So we're waiting for some crops to finish. So I've potted them into quite substantial pots now. So you can see they're starting to root through the bottom. And again, I might even pot them on again. But they're sat on a bed of compost, so they're actually feeding into the compost. Yeah. So all the spare plants plus the brassicas are in there. Shall we have a look in the polytunnel? Yeah. So there's not a lot happening in here at the minute. It will fill up, but what we have got is a trial that we've done on broad beans, with Allgrow, one of our new products. So these 2 tubs have been fed with Allgrow, these 2 with a competitor, and these 2 with nothing at all. That's actually from that one. So that is the result. So you can see they are trying to grow with no feed because they're quite a tough plant. But if you look at the size of the pods compared to the competitor and our Allgrow, we have harvested quite a few of these now, haven't we? Yes. So that's not the full result, and we're keeping a tab of the weight and the amount of pods that we're collecting, and it's really promising at the minute. But I had to take the tops out. I was just going to let them keep growing, see how far they'd go, but take the top out because they reach. I've never seen broad beans so tall. So I've taken the tops out purely because they got to the top of the polytunnel. But yeah, the results have been really impressive. So into the garden, the one thing that is struggling at the minute seems to be the squashes, purely because we've not had the sun and the heat. I mean, I've still got a coat on, and we're in June. It's not too bad today actually, but some days it's been cold, and the squashes don't like that. So as you can see, they're trying to grow, desperately trying to grow. And I have put three plants in this one bed, and again we'll probably sacrifice one of them once they start growing. But it was just a matter of, because the weather's been so cold, I thought we might lose 1 or 2 of them anyway. So I've put them out, and we'll see what's happening. So with the squashes, what I tend to do is set them in a little, almost like a basin of soil. So I just mound the soil up round it, as you can see in there, and then when you water them, just water into that and just fill the basin up, and then just let it drain down into the roots, and then you're not wasting water elsewhere. The roots will spread out anyway, but yeah, it's just a handy way of, because when the soil's dry, if you water it, sometimes it just runs away anyway. So at least that way you know it's going into the plant itself. And we're just getting his first flower on that one.
Yeah, that one's doing quite
well. Yeah, that's picked up nicely, that one. That's a courgette. And we have got 2 different squashes in there, and we've got a patty pan squash down here as well. One of the things that has seemed to have done quite well is the onions. They've not minded the weather at all. These are just Ailsa Craig, a standard variety with a good reputation. It's tried and tested, so, and you can see that they've enjoyed the weather really. They took to it. So on the archways we've swapped it round from last year, if you remember. Yeah. We had this unit at the back and the beans at the front, and we decided we wanted the flowers at the front. So we've done that. Unfortunately, the morning glory have been absolutely decimated by, I don't know if it's the bees. I've not really seen any sign of slugs or snails, so they've seemed to have just destroyed them. I mean, the thing about morning glory though, if you lose the growing tip, these side shoots will come. So in a way, it might have done us a favour because the plant will bush out. Okay. So hopefully, there's still time for them to go. And again, they want the weather, they need the sun. It's a different variety. Okay. It's a blue, heavenly blue, I think it is. Which, whether that's made any difference, I don't know. Whether it's not as vigorous. Yeah. But I have got some spares which we're going to keep growing in pots just in case, and we'll plant them out later when the weather improves. The beans, on the other hand, are doing quite well. Yeah. So they're climbing. What I do is I just tie them in every so often, and I tie them in loosely, so like that there, just so that as it grows, I can just undo that and move the tie up. Yeah. You don't need to tie them tight anyway. All it is just to hold the stem of the plant to the cane, and then, as I say, you can just undo them, move it up. Because what you do with beans, once they get to the length that you want them to get to, just snip the end out anyway, and that'll encourage them to side shoot, and that gives you more beans. I'm just going to have a slurp of my tea. So this is the bed that we're growing some leaves in, really. So we've got perpetual spinach, which are doing really well. We've got beetroot and some kale. So I went round yesterday and weeded everywhere. The reason I've got the cane in my hand is this is what I use to weed with. Because I'm at this level, I can't use a hoe. I don't want to use a trowel. Don't really want to use anything that's like a blade, because I don't want to damage any of the plants that we've got in. And because we're growing in beds, we're trying to get as much produce as we can from the beds. We grow it quite close together. So all I do is just with a cane, so you can make it any length you want, any thickness, just put a notch on the end, make it sharp, and all I do is just go around that, and you can just pick them out. I carry a bucket with me, and you can just, and it's dead easy, and it's free. It's just that's just cut off an old broken cane, and all I do is just, as you say, you just go through. When the sun's out as well, you don't even need to pick the weeds up. If you just chop the roots, just loosen them, disturb them, and you can get right in. So you can get right in with this, right into. So if you found I'm hoping there isn't any, because I did it yesterday. It'd look bad if there were any, wouldn't it?
They look really healthy.
Yeah, they are. And obviously, taking the weeds away stops any competition. The weeds aren't going to take any nutrients, not going to take any water up. So that's what I use that for. You don't have to pick the weeds up. If you just leave them on the top, when it's warm like this, a couple of hours they'll be dead.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what I use that for. The compost that you bring out your compost bin, what I did, I got a sieve. I sieved it slightly, not too fine. You want a bit of structure to it, but there'll be lots and lots of organisms, bacteria and that in the compost, and you're putting that back into your soil, and also encouraging worms, because the worms will come and take that compost down into the soil and feed on it still, and obviously that moves all that compost and goodness down into your soil without you having to work it in. And it also suppresses weeds, although sometimes the weed seeds do remain in the compost, so you might find that you get a flush of little seedlings, but again, just weed over. But it'll also keep moisture in as well. So if you what you tend to do is water before you put the compost mulch on, so that it locks the moisture into the soil. Yeah. We changed the fence panels last year, the fence planters, because they weren't deep enough. They were only about probably 4 inches deep. So what I've done is I've just adapted them. Yeah. They're now 6 inches deep, and you can see the difference. Last year everything really struggled on the fence, but this year we've got some good strawberries coming. So along the top we've got strawberries with geraniums and verbenas in there, and then lower down we've got marigolds, mesembryanthemums, and again verbenas. And I'm hoping that's just going to be a riot of colour. Yeah. To attract wildlife in. In this round bed we've got ornamental leaves, so we've got pak choy, rocket, and then a salad mix in the middle. Yeah. So I was going to try and do them in rows, but then I felt it'd be just too difficult, so I thought the easiest thing was just do them in circles. But they seem to be growing okay, and I'm hoping it's going to make a nice little feature with the different colours. Yeah, it will do, yeah. So down into the riverside garden. We've got our sweet peas again, they're doing really well. Again, I just tie them in loosely. Some people cut the tendrils off, but because they tend to grab the flowers and distort things, but it's just natural. We've just got our first flowers coming on there. Yeah. I think they're seed that you brought in, Rachel, that variety. Was it the cottage garden one or something? Yeah, but yeah, they're a different one to what we've grown before, but yeah, they're really happy, to be honest. We've got loads of oregano, which is really healthy. Yeah. And I actually took a bit last night and put it in my pasta, and it was fantastic, really nice. We've got sage, again, which is lovely, and I'm going to be taking some of that today because we're having risotto tonight, so lovely. I'm going to put a bit of that in there. Nice. And then we've got chives, which I keep cutting back. The thing with all the herbs is if you cut them right, they'll come back. Yeah. So with chives, what you do, you don't sort of pull them up because they're like an onion bulb. What you do is you just cut straight across, don't cut too low, so inch and a half, and what happens then is that the chive will regenerate and it'll grow up through the middle there. So if you were taking that clump, just cut it off, sort of there, straight across with scissors, yeah. and it's just, again, one of my favourite herbs, chives. It's lovely. Sweetcorn, again, we've set those out 2 weeks ago, beginning of June, after the chance, well, hopefully after the chance of frosts have gone. Good healthy plants. We set them in a block. You set sweetcorn in blocks so because they're wind pollinated, and it's quite breezy through here now. Yeah. So you can help them, and I think we did a video on that before. Yeah, which was quite successful.
And the blocks, you mean
as in
like parallel? As
in squares. You don't set them in a line. Yeah. Even if you set them in a line here with the wind blowing that way, you're not always going to get everything pollinated. But if you've got them in a block, the wind, whichever way it blows, it's going to blow the pollen. Yeah. The dahlias, these 2 dahlias were at the front, and the small ones were at the back, and these were just killing the smaller ones. They were taking all the light. So what I did, I took the decision just to dig them up and switch them round, because we can't get a truck down here to lift the bed up and turn it. And I gave them a good watering, and they seem to have survived. I mean, this one does flop occasionally, so I just water it and then it perks up. But they've been moved 4 weeks now, so these are actually flourishing now. They're starting to pick up. They're catching up, so hopefully it made the right choice. These we did the Chelsea chop on. Yeah. And as you can see, where we cut them back, let's have a look. It's really picking up now. Yeah, so where we cut each of them back, look, these side shoots have all started to grow. So we're going to get more flowers, but just a bit later. Nice. And again, we moved those from the front of this bed to the back, because they were just rose Campion. I've never seen it grow so well. And we actually took one plant out because they were overcrowded and moved it, and that one stood up as well. Yeah. So that seems to have worked. We've got some Lodero cabbage in there. They're really healthy. Again, we'll just have to keep an eye out once we start getting the cabbage whites. Yeah. I did net them last year, and we got some good cabbages last year. But we'll see how we go on. So this bed, we've got artichokes in. Now the globe artichokes, so the ones that you take the flowers, not the roots. As you can see, it's got lots of our own compost again on the top, and again I've set them in slight depressions so that you can water straight down in there, and they've picked up nicely. So, but it'll take them a couple of years to get to be substantial plants, and then they'll be really big. So this year we won't let them flower, so that all the strength goes into the root system and making a strong plant ready for next year, and then hopefully we'll get some of the artichokes, the globe artichokes on the top. Each time we potted them on, we were giving a little bit of root well. And yeah, they've got a really good root system. So this is your bed, George, I believe. So your square foot growing. I have had to do a bit of maintenance on it. I keep replanting the little onions because the squirrels keep digging them up. I don't know why. They're fascinated with them. But yeah, your carrots are coming through. The spinach will take longer anyway.
Oh, I sowed them, so.
Oh, did you sow the carrots, Ray? Ah, green fingers.
Rachel did everything. I did the spinach.
Oh dear. Let's have a close up of that, George.
Yeah, no happening on there.
So we're getting down to the wild garden area now. So we've got a couple of clematis over this archway.
Oh, it's flowering over there as well.
Yeah, it's just coming out, which is nice. Again, we've got a few wild bits in here. We've got some foxgloves, this flowering nettle there, and we've got the normal nettle. So this one is just wildflowers, and it doesn't look much at the minute, but it's only been set to a couple of weeks, and you can just see all the seedlings starting to pop up. Give it another month. And then in this one, probably the most shaded bed in the garden, but we've put sunflowers in it. But we'll see. So we've got sunflowers and a few spare Rudbeckias just to break up the. I thought I'd put 5 in, but I can only see 4 Rudbeckias because I normally put odd numbers of everything in. Oh, there's 5. I couldn't see that one because of the top of this. Yeah, I'd have been amazed if I'd only put 4 in. But anyway, and then above it, I've just used the onions that you brought in, just so we've got something in the bed above. So into the wildlife area. So we've got our little pond. Bit disappointed that we've not had any frog spawn this year, which is a bit of a surprise, but it is what it is. So we've got 1 or 2 flowers still in bloom. The ragged robin, that's been nice. That's just going over. We're just going to let that self-seed. It's just getting seed heads on it now. And then we've got Bug Hotel. Again, because of the weather, we've not had much activity. We've not seen lots of bees and that about. I've seen beetles and things going in and out of it, so hopefully.
Very nice. It is brilliant though. It is, I mean...
The squirrels have tried to get the cones out. They've desperately tried to get the pine cones out.
I think we've covered everything there then.
Yeah, we've done a right grand tour, haven't we? Perfect.